Good afternoon, everybody. I am Michelle Clements-Pitstick, the director here at Clark County Emergency Management Agency. We wanted to provide a tornado update focusing on the relief perspective for our residents, but let me give you a quick update of what has occurred and what we have done and where we're going moving forward. So yesterday, the National Weather Service indicated to us that there was an EF2 tornado that came through Clark County affecting about roughly 93 residences. To break that down through our damage assessment that the teams went out and did, there's 8 destroyed houses, meaning that they are taken all the way down to the foundation. There's 12 major affected residences, 21 minor, and 52 affected in some capacity in one way or another. At this time, there are no disaster declarations, nor are we expecting any disaster declarations. We are encouraging all of the residents, anybody that has damage to their properties, to contact their insurance companies for next steps for relief and how the insurance companies want them to proceed. With that, monetary donations can be made at Park Bank under United Way Disaster Relief. That's Park Bank, United Way Disaster Relief, or online at www.uwccmc.org. We are continuing to work with our community stakeholders. This morning we had a meeting with many of them to address some of the unmet needs of our community. Later this afternoon we will have a link on our social media and our Clark County, Ohio webpage with what we call a care portal, where residents can go and input their information, addresses, contact information, and list out their unmet needs so that we can work through with our community partners to address those needs and get them the resources that they need. That'll be later this afternoon that care portal will be open, and that is through our partners at the Nehemiah Foundation. So we would like to thank them. We would also like to thank the following for reaching out and offering assistance to us. First of all, let's start with all of our first responders and our community partners and stakeholders, our EMA volunteers that worked through with us and throughout the disaster yesterday and ongoing. Without the collaboration and the partnerships that we have, it wouldn't have been possible. So thank you to all of our first responders, local law enforcement, EMA volunteers. But moving into more of our community partners and national partners that we have working with us. The first is Masters of Disaster. They are on the grounds working with residents for debris cleanup. Team Rubicon is coming in, or potentially coming in, to address some additional debris cleanup. We know that the tornado was on the ground for about 19 miles, and so that's a pretty wide swath for multiple teams to come in and help residents with debris cleanup. AT&T FirstNet, who has provided multiple phones for us, MiFis, have reached out to the township and other governmental organizations to support some of our communication efforts. The American Red Cross, who was here yesterday and ongoing for canteening and providing a little bit of immediate relief to our residents. Locally, St. Vincent de Paul, Salvation Army, Nehemiah Foundation, United Way, also known as 211. Clark County CTC, who offered a food truck for our residents to partake in. Home Depot, who is willing to provide supplies, and we're working with them to get a list of the supplies that they're willing to bring over for us. Ryder Dairy, who's offered food, such as milk, for our residents that are affected. Second Harvest Food Bank. Kroger, who has also offered some food assistance. Multiple faith-based community resources, such as our churches, have also reached out. And then, of course, the Clark County Fairgrounds that we'll be working with here in the near future. We probably have missed some people, but we apologize. We appreciate all of the assistance that has been offered to us. We would like to tell the residents that if you have outstanding needs before we get the care portal up and running, you are more than welcome to call 937-521-2175. That's 937-521-2175. That is the office number for my office here at the Emergency Management Agency. We will connect you with the correct resources that you need and get the assistance to you that you need. At this time, that concludes my update. Additional information will be pushed, as always, through the social media pages, Clark County Emergency Management Agency Facebook page, as well as clarkcountyohio.gov. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Michelle, how many injuries did you guys have reported, and of those, how many were serious?
So we had 3 minor injuries, none reported to us that were serious. They were taken to the hospital out of an abundance of caution.
So the fact that you had an EF2 twister on the ground for nearly 19 miles and you only had 3 injuries, none of them serious, what do you think of that?
So I think that's a testament to the preparedness efforts of our community. Multiple ways to receive warnings, whether it was through the NOAA weather radio system, whether it was a FEMA app or WHIO's app or any of our other news apps out there. The county also has a hyper-reach system that people received warnings for. Tornado sirens went off. The biggest message with the tornado sirens is just please remember that those are meant to be heard outdoors. They are not meant to wake you up from a dead sleep in the middle of the night. But the tornado sirens did go off. So, preparedness by the community and the residents themselves, this is an absolute testament to their preparedness efforts and really the resiliency effort that we see ongoing.
You're going to touch on it, but how did the warning system work with this storm system?
Everybody that we spoke to when we did the damage assessment received a text, a hyperreach. Some heard tornado sirens. It was a plethora of multitude of layers of warning systems that were activated as they should, and most of them received the warnings as they should have. Yes, sir.
Not to take anything away from your emergency crews, but are volunteers needed, and if so, do they need to report to your office to give you a list of who's on the premises?
So if we have volunteers, we will coordinate that through my office. They can call the 521-2175 number. Same number that the residents can call for their unmet needs, and we can coordinate the efforts that are needed on the grounds. We don't want to send too many resources to an area that aren't needed, so we like to coordinate that, but 521-2175.
And also, would you be willing to elaborate on your emergency action team on the job that they did in short notice?
Absolutely. So we are human beings just like everybody else in the public. We get the warnings just as everyone else gets them. We don't get them any earlier. So the minute that we get a warning, we are on the phone with each other, kind of watching the weather, see where it's going, what's happening, getting a good lay of the land of what's going on out there. For this instance, I had 2 fire chiefs ask that I go directly to the scene. In Springfield Township, so I did. I reported to the scene, but the rest of my team comes back here to the Emergency Operations Center, and we start just getting an overall picture of what is going on in the community and where our resources are needed. And so once daylight breaks, we broke up into 3 different teams. We had 3 damage assessment teams go out, and they do the damage assessment, bring that information back. Our state partners were on the phone with us from the state EMA the minute that the warning went out as well. And so it really is a collaborative effort that really just comes together when bad things happen.
And last but not least, any message for individuals who may not have water, power, any awareness of when the power may be turned back on?
Absolutely. So one of the jobs of the Emergency Operations Center is to bring all of those community lifelines together, such as utilities and power, and monitor how that is. So at the height of the storm, we had about 6,000 residents that didn't have power. We are down to less than about 600 at this point. The latest update we have is that the power will be back on to 95% of the residents by 11 p.m. tonight. The rest of them will be hopefully brought back online by Saturday. And that is because we had 54 power poles and transformers that were down. So it's a significant undertaking to bring all of that back online. But 95% should be back online by 11 p.m. tonight.
And last but not least, I promise, anything you can tell us about the governor's visit yesterday? Was he willing to offer any advanced help?
Absolutely. As always, our governor, our state resources are here. They were on the ground with us yesterday from the very beginning. Behind me is Phil Clayton from Ohio Emergency Management Agency. He has been on the phone since 4 a.m. with me yesterday, has been in our office, but our OSP aviation unit was up in the helicopter doing some damage assessments for us yesterday, getting us video footage of the aerial footage of it. And so the resources are there if we need them. They have offered anything that we need, and again, it goes back to the testament of the partnership and the collaboration before the disaster happens.
What does cleanup look like now, Michelle, and how long might it take for, I know it's different for everybody with the damage they got, but how long might it take for some folks to be cleaning up here?
So just as every disaster, it could be a couple years to fully rebuild. It is different for everybody, just like you said. There is no time frame here, right? We need to contact the insurance companies, see how the insurance companies, every insurance company is different. How do they want to handle the cleanup for their clients? And then, we can step in with additional resources for the debris cleanup and things like that. And that's just the forward-facing things, but the rebuilds and things like that take quite some time. So it could be a couple years.
And the men in charge at the National Weather Service Office in Wellington described the EF2 damage as intermittent along this stretch. Was there anywhere you look and say this is the worst pocket of the damage you have in the county from that twister?
So
Say
Mitchell. I was out on Mitchell Road yesterday, and that would probably be the area that I would suggest be the most damaged. Again, we have 8 destroyed houses, but on the map behind us, the blue is actually the destroyed, so you can kind of see it really just jumps all over. There really isn't one specific area, but the Mitchell Road area is really where the cluster of damage is.
And that's, for people who don't know, that's Harmony Township? What
That's
community?
Springfield Township.
Springfield Township, okay.
Mhm. Any questions? Any other questions?
I know even between yesterday and today, we've seen Clark County residents out helping one another recover from this. And then you said, other companies and organizations are helping as well. What kind of testament does that make about the community?
Clark County, I've been the director here for going on 4 years now, and that's one thing that warms my heart every time that we have a disaster, is the community resilience and really the neighbors helping the neighbors. And that's what makes Springfield great. That's what makes Clark County great, is the fact that the neighbors are willing to help each other and step in the times of need. Any other questions?
Do you mind spelling your name and repeating your title?
Sure. Clements, CLEMENTS Pitstick, PITSTICK, and I'm the director at EMA.
And you said blue was destroyed, Michelle. What's sort of the color code of that map we're looking at there?
Blue is destroyed, red is going to be your major, yellow is going to be the affected, minor, and white will be the affected. And we can get you a printout of what that looks like in the legend, because I may have got that wrong. Blue is what I was focused on, and we've changed the colors a couple times.
Has there been any cost estimate on damage yet, or will there be?
No cost estimate right now. We're still, the first day is always the rapid assessments and trying to get stuff plotted on the maps and look at that. Today is really focused on the community recovery aspect, and then we'll start putting dollar numbers to it as we contact insurance companies, and insurance companies start getting out into the area, the adjusters and things like that. We'll get some numbers out. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.